some of the best shit to happen for at least the Revival, tag team fans, and probably, obviously, AEW, hopefully as long as they don't go to the Dark Order, is tag team wrestling is getting a new free agent as of Friday when WWE finally did the right thing and released the Revival from their contractual obligations. WWE Backstage reporter and Pro Wrestling Sheet owner Ryan Satin noted that the Revival is not under a non-compete clause. That's because WWE allowed them their release, and WWE are currently free to wrestle for any promotion that they'd like. On Twitter, the duo changed their names, with Scott Dawson becoming Dax Hardwood. I feel like Saxton Hardcastle could team with him.
Yeah.
And Dash Wilder becoming Cash Wheeler.
Yes. And
which
Harwood
is
and Wheeler are their legit shoot last names.
Yes, but still sounds like a cheap 80s cop show.
They are great last names.
Harwood Wheeler! Get in here now! God damn it, I told you to do it by the book! Now I got IA streaming down my back! What do you think? I'm on these heart medications. I'm going to have a heart attack any time. My goddamn, I'm taking Tums like it's something. What are you going to do? You guys got to figure this out. You're wild cards, both of you.
I'll be taking your matches.
Let me see your shields and your guns. Coming to NBC this fall, Harwood and Wheeler.
I'd watch it.
It's great. I love it. No, this is great for them because this is what they've wanted for quite a long time. I hope this is good for AEW.
I hope this translates into WWE releasing more talent in these troubling times because they need to save some money too.
They can't afford who they've got.
No, they can't.
I've read a report recently about how they'd been stockpiling all these people, and now with all this shit going down, they literally lost. They lost over $1 billion in WrestleMania this year. Just in WrestleMania, lost over $1 billion. So all of these contracts that they have, they're not going to be able to honor.
Yeah,
and that's sad for WWE, but hopefully. Because there's so many people that are just getting paid to not do anything, and hopefully they can. We want them to have paychecks, but we also want them to be artistically satisfied. And I know there's a gray area there.
Also, there is some genius in WWE releasing them right now amidst this COVID panic, and that is anything could happen going forward. And if this lasts too long, it could put AEW under.
Well, and just look at Brody Lee. He came back. They debuted him in front of no audience, and nobody cared. It's like.
I like that his character is like a portrayal of Vince McMahon. To me, that's funny. How he was eating steak with the Dark Order, and he made them sit and watch him eat the steak, and then one guy sneezed, and he freaked out on him for it.
That's kind of cool. Well, I guess it's kind of cool. It's very un-Brody Lee.
No, it's very Vince McMahon, but I think that's the point, is for him to shit on Vince, which is the cool thing to do when you leave and go to AEW.
It's really the worst thing to do for AEW, and it's the thing they need to stop doing.
It seems to me like Vince appreciates it because he allowed "that's such good shit" line to happen in the Firefly Funhouse match. He's okay with being a meme.
Vince knows how to make money off of stuff. That's one thing he has. I'd say that's one thing he has over AEW. Obviously, the cons know how to make money. I don't know that they know how to make money off of the wrestling business like Vince does. But I don't know. Like you said, this is the worst time for Vince in the XFL, but this is the worst time for AEW because they started a brand new business and now everything's going to shit.
Yeah.
They started a live business when you can't do anything live. Same thing with the XFL. They started a live business when you can't do anything live. It's going to hurt both of these companies.
Yeah.
Are both companies going to exist next year? 100%. But how much is this going to affect them going forward? And at least the XFL, they pulled the plug. I know WWE hasn't yet, but the XFL was smart and pulled the plug.
Yeah.
I really wish AEW would just pull the plug Sit out the rest, sit out until the fall schedule. Fall is when you do all of your premieres.
Mm-hmm.
Sit out until the fall schedule and drop a really big pay-per-view to start it out. All you got to do is drop the shit online. A chunk of your fans are online people. Drop your matches online, do a pay-per-view, and then go back into doing weekly televised stuff because they're hurting their product doing live program or even pre-tape programming in front of no audience.
Yeah.
People watch WWE because they're accustomed to it. It's part of their schedule. AEW is not part of anybody's schedule yet. I can't imagine. I mean, I've seen the ratings. They're dropping ratings like crazy. And they're not an established brand yet. I think the cons know more about business than I do, but if it was me, I would just hold off.
Yeah, it would be real leery right now. The only saving grace is they did just get re-signed for 3 more years with TNT, but I mean, amidst this, I think that could change still too.
Well, even if you know you're signed for 3 more years, take the break.
Yeah.
If it's a contract, you're not out the money.
Yeah, and they still have Being the Elite, so they can still build story sort of.
Well, for sure, they got Being the Elite. They got Nightmare Collective or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Or Nightmare. I don't know what it's
Family.
called. Sure. Yeah, and they got the AEW YouTube page.
Yeah.
They got stuff they can do. They could even do little vignettes that they could have TNT or TNT air as commercials and keep them in there, keep them out there. It's just I don't know that this is how you want to build your brand as I don't know. The whole world's changed around me, even though my world is the exact same. So it's weird when I look at everything different. I look at it different. I'm like, this just isn't right.
At the same time, does it really matter? Because even when there were crowds, it would be people in the crowd taking pictures of the other half of the arena saying, oh, look how empty it is. Now there's just no crowd on that half of the arena.
Right.
So what's the difference, really?
Yeah. Wrestling fans are the worst.
I love wrestling, but at the same point, we get a break, and this is one point where we didn't think we'd have any kind of a break. And it's sort of nice to be able to reconnect with some other things.
And there's good wrestling out now.
Yes.
Long before the COVID, I wasn't watching WWE or AEW because they were both so predictable and repetitive. And I was watching NWA, MLW, and Impact. And it's like now I'm still watching NWA, MLW, and Impact. And the people who were watching WWE and AEW are sitting here like, oh, crap. It's really not as good as I thought it was. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm still watching the same shit I was watching. Uh-huh. I just recommend that to any wrestling fans. There's so much good wrestling out there. We preach that all the time, but now more than ever, there's good wrestling out there that's been pre-taped, that has live audiences, that you can immerse yourself in, that you can enjoy, that you can have
fun. For the next 3 to 6 months until their library runs out.
Well, I mean, most places by the end of this month, beginning of next month, are all going back up and running. I know most of the businesses in town next week are opening back up, at least in my town.
Well, that's because us here in
this
Minnesota
is almost
are
over.
very reasonable, and we've done a great job at mitigating, especially if you look over at our neighbors, Wisconsin. The numbers are twice as bad over there as they are here.
Yeah.
We're good at
common sense.
Yeah.
It's all common sense. Just act human.
One of the few times I'm glad I live in the state I live in. That's what I got to say about that.
I sadly agree with that statement. The Midwest has really. You look at New York, you look at Florida, you look at some of those places that are just devastated, and you're like, yeah, the Midwest is decent right now.
Yep. That's the thing too, because the Midwest could easily be like, oh, well, the coastal states are going to be the ones that get fucked because that's where all the national travel comes from and goes to. So the Midwest could continue to just struggle on like it's normal, but for the fact of the mitigation, it's good. I mean, it's still insane, and I still don't. It's hard for me to wrap my head day-to-day basis on exactly what's happening everywhere. But
you know what? if all you watch is streaming, you don't even have to fucking worry about it. Because I never watch the news. I never see any commercials. I never deal with any of the shit.
See, I'm big into watching YouTube. A lot of my content that I digest is YouTube.
Oh, I watch YouTube too, but none of that has anything to do with COVID.
I don't know.
Zero.
I watch. I keep up with the news on YouTube. So
that's your problem. Turn it off, buddy.
It's okay though, because I'm not one to panic, and I am one who likes to get all the sides of the sources. You know. So I know what I'm dealing with rather than just getting half the story. I'll watch Fox. I'll watch CNN. I'll watch NBC. I'll watch ABC. I'll watch BBC. I'll watch some weird shit that's just talking about what's going on in China. You know,
as long as you're comfortable with it, that's good. It's these people that sit down and watch the news all day and just dread themselves to death. That it's just like, get away from it. You are not the person listening to this podcast, the person sitting at home watching TV, the person going to Walmart getting anything, including toilet paper. You are not going to get COVID-19.
Right.
You're not going
just
to.
Don't walk around. That's not how it fucking works. Okay.
Yeah, that's just not how it fucking works. It's like when the AIDS came out and everybody freaked out and thought as soon as you sit on a toilet seat you get AIDS. It's not how it works. If you just live your life like you normally did, you'll never get it. Do you think they actually
thought that, or do you think they were just using that as the excuse for why they had it?
Tomato. Is it any different now?
No.
I mean, they're lit. Yeah, let's just. I don't want to get. I don't like being political on here, so we'll just end it at this. WrestleMania. I'm gonna say disappointing, but I don't know. Nobody knew what to expect, so I can't say that I'm disappointed.
Disappointing without a little COVID-19.
Possibly.
I don't think a lot of these matches would have stood up with a crowd if everything would have been the way it was stated out in the first place and things didn't get shuffled around, maybe. But this card with a crowd, I don't think it could have been saved much.
I can tell you this, though, Paystee, we would not have gotten the Boneyard or the Firefly Funhouse without COVID. No. So, hello.
Yes.
With that being said, Paystee, everybody stay safe. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. I'm Fat Mack.
I'm Paystee. And we'll see your ass next week.
Hopefully.
Woo!
If there's anything to talk about.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll see.